you, Madam Chairperson, Mrs. Daniel Wiggins. I recognize the Honourable Wendy Colleen Phipps, Minister of State with responsibility for health, et al. I also recognize Matron Daly, and I recognize the Operations Manager Acting, Ms. Gail Cranston. Let me also recognize Mrs. Sandra Keynes, the In-Service Education Coordinator, Ms. Louise Williams-Morris, Clinical Instructor, Mrs. Kerry Tuckett, Quality Assurance Infection Control Coordinator. Let me also recognize the tutors and instructors, and of course other public health ministry officials, including of course Dr. Etna Walwin and Ms. Eunice Brown. And let me also recognize the graduates. Graduates all, and members of the audience, good afternoon. I came here today, and as I looked across the room, I saw eager faces. And while I am no mind reader, the expressions on some of the faces said it all. Now, I'm standing at the podium, and I'm taking a closer look. And as I take a closer look, I see perseverance. I see accomplishment. I see resilience. And I feel that there's an appetite for hunger and a hunger for more radiating in this room. You seem ready to me for the task ahead, but you're also ready for something greater. Perhaps this platform will even launch new careers for some of you, especially those of you who are interested in making a name for yourself in the healthcare industry, but first starting as a scrub technician, a nursing attendant, or dietary aide. Your graduation today, after what appears to have been a rigorous training program, demonstrates perseverance, a sense of grit. According to psychologist Angela Duckworth, grit is a better indicator of future earnings and happiness than either IQ or talent. Therefore, if we accept the professor's theory, your perseverance, your grit promises financial independence. Achieving it is within the reach of each of you. And if you do not achieve it, don't look around for someone or something to blame, but revert to that resilience that brought you this far. Furthermore, remind yourself always that combination of passion, resilience, determination, and focus that helped you maintain the discipline and optimism throughout the training that made you reach to the point of achieving this goal today. Today, you lay claim to your accomplishment after weeks of diligence and discipline. You are on a career path working alongside registered nurses, physicians, surgeons, and other healthcare personnel. The same discipline and diligence applied throughout the training are to be applied as you prepare both the patient and the operating room, as you administer medications and update patient records, as you prepare and serve food for patients, and finally, as you assist patients with their daily activities. Discipline and diligence is expected from you at all times. Let me repeat, all times. Since graduation is also a time of celebration, celebrate if you will. Take photos and post them on Facebook or Instagram if you like, but be mindful of the career path that you have chosen, a career path in healthcare, let not your celebration lead to unwarranted ends burdening healthcare personnel or causing financial burdens to yourself or for the state, or even ruining your career. Today, yes, is a day of celebration. However, let your celebration be one of thanksgiving. Give thanks. The Bible says, as long as you have breath, give thanks. Say thanks to those who helped you who got you here, who nurtured you, who taught you, who cheered you on, and who even dried your tears when you were having difficulty. Today is also a day of reflection. So let today mark the end of one area of your life and the beginning of something new. The beginning of something empowering. The beginning of something that takes you to self-actualization. So now, what happens now that you are graduating? Because your life is not only about being graduates within the healthcare industry, I must, hopefully as a wiser head, proffer very brief advice on how to overcome adversity in life. You see, what happens to you in real life impacts on your performance in the workplace. And that is why I'm taking this conversation there. Because what happens to you at home, that can be brought onto the job and affect your performance. Understand me clearly. The easy days ahead of you will be easy. But the difficult days ahead of you will also be very difficult. The times of challenge for you will come in those difficult days and will be very challenging for you to your very core. And it will determine at that time who you are, the way you conduct yourself. That is when you will be defined just as what you have achieved today and so far in life, but by how you survive in that troubled world. That is when you will be defined. We are all exposed to everyday risks and pressures, all of us. Perils of climate change, earthquakes, hurricanes, job insecurity, economic instability, catastrophic illnesses and accidents, grief, exposure to crime and substance abuse. The life pressures that challenge our very core, we are all exposed to them. Psychologist Martin Seligman found that personalization, pervasiveness, and permanence are critical to how we bounce back from hardship. Again, I'm speaking to you as a wiser head. Because the seeds of resilience are planted in the way we process the negative events in our lives. Firstly, when things happen, as they sometimes will, do not personalize it and think that everything is your fault. That does not mean that you should not take responsibility. What it means is, not everything that happens to you or around you happens because of you. Secondly, don't harbor the belief that an adverse event will affect all areas of your life. In other words, don't let one troubling event infect your entire being, thereby infecting everything and everyone around you. And thirdly, don't harbor the belief that sorrow in your life will last forever. It passes eventually. Therefore, keep a positive outlook. You see, we often project our current feelings out indefinitely. Therefore, we ought to accept our own feelings the way they are now, but recognize that they will not last forever. You may not want to take this suggestion from me, but try this from tonight and every night for a month or so. Write down 3 things that brought joy to you today, or for this week or this month. Just 3 things every night for a month, just before you go to sleep. You will find that you will grow into a very different person, a person that is more Christ-like. Christ in his Sermon on the Mount gave us 8 beatitudes that he liked, that he linked together as our path for righteousness. Let us therefore wrap ourselves in his words. Congratulations to all of you. Continue to grow in your careers and in favor with God and with your fellow man. Thank you very much.